What's going on, family? Demi Goddess with Evolve coming at you guys with another video. Today, I hope everyone is feeling amazing out there, drinking your water, exercising, loving on you. Well, welcome back to Evolve, family, where we have daily conversations about real life situations that high vibe beings face in this modern world. Some of the topics we discuss here are narcissism, spirituality, mental health, and healing. If this resonates with you, don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate you guys so much. Well, today, family, I want to talk to those of you guys who you're dealing with a level of confusion. You might have, walked out of some situations or made some real changes in your life. You made some real big decisions to change your life. You might have walked out on some bad relationships, or you might have decided that you're done dealing with the toxic job and the toxic coworkers and the drama there, or maybe you decided that you were done with the toxic families and all of these things. You're going through these major changes and shifts in your life. And we can deal with a level of confusion that comes when you walk out of these toxic environments. For a period of time, you might struggle with some confusion and some self-doubt. And I really truly believe that this just is a normal part of any transformation we go through, any shift that you go through in life. When it's time to make some real big changes, we can go through a period of some confusion and some self-doubt. We can get to a place where you start to question, did I make the right decision? Now, in the moment, you know for sure, right? Because a lot of the time when you're a very responsible person, you don't really make a lot of changes on the whim. You probably did a lot of thinking before you made the change, but it's tough. It can be really challenging, right? And it's hard. It's hard to make these changes because it's scary. It's scary. It's new. We don't know what we're walking into. We hope, we have the highest hopes, but we truly don't know, what we're walking into. And even as toxic as a situation can be, it still feels comforting because we know that thing. Even if it's toxic and it's bad for us, we're comfortable there because that's where we've been, right? We know what to expect there. And no matter how crazy it is, we can kind of get comfortable in these spaces, unfortunately, right? And so when you walk out of these situations, it's such a big transformation that it can bring about some self doubt and confusion. And so I wanted to connect with you guys today and just kick it with you about this because I know what it feels like to go through those major shifts and how confusing and how painful and how much self doubt can come up in the midst of those changes. And so I wanted to stop by today and let you know that, you are doing the right thing. If you've thought things through and you went down the list of the pros and cons of making that choice, and you know that you were miserable in that space, you weren't happy there, you just were not happy. It doesn't matter where it was, where you found yourself when you were in that unhappy space. You weren't operating at your optimum level, you weren't at your best, right? And I truly believe that we should all allow ourselves in this life, right? In this journey called life, we should allow ourselves to be happy, right? If you're unhappy in a space, it's not that you're irresponsible, you've tried to be responsible. It's just sometimes we find ourselves in spaces that's just not aligned with who we've become. It could have made perfect sense 10 years ago. It could have made perfect sense 5 years ago, but it's just not in alignment with who you have become. See, as you're continuing to heal and evolve, a lot of you guys might get to a space or got to a space where these environments or these people and these dynamics just no longer align with who you've become. And you find yourself just so miserable in these spaces. And I think this is where it's like the separation between, you know, um, the real daredevils, the real courageous beings like you, right? Come into play because see, most people at that point, they just kind of say things like, they're dealing with depression or they're dealing with anxiety or, they're just unhappy. But the reality is they're not in alignment with who they have become. They're not making the change, right? Like life is screaming, this is no longer good for you. And so instead of making the change, a lot of the time out of fear, people shrink and they just take a pill and they say, I'm just dealing with depression, I'll get over it. But the reality is, when you're a courageous being like you, You made the change. And I want to stop by and commend you today for making that shift, because the reality is it's not easy to make such big transformations and changes in our life. When we find ourselves so disappointed or unhappy in a space or in a relationship or in a career field or a job or whatever it is, right? A family unit, and we find ourselves unhappy and just dealing with a level of depression. We say, I'm just not happy here, and you decide to make that change. And it brings about a lot of self doubt. I just wanted to stop by and let you know that you are making the right decision. It just can bring about a lot of self doubt sometimes, especially if you dealt with a lot of gaslighting. Sometimes we can find ourselves in spaces that's just doing a lot of gaslighting, like you're irresponsible or you're not right for making this change. What's wrong with you? You don't just make that type of change. What are you going to do now? You're too old, or, you've been there so long. And it's like this fear that can come up. But I want to encourage you to keep moving forward because you deserve to be happy. You deserve that. And so if you turn back around, and you go back to the space that you were unhappy in, it'll only be worse, right? Because you get a taste of your new life, you get out there, you're feeling good, you got to get through that shift. And if you go back, you throw away everything, you throw it all away. You know what I'm saying? Or everything that you deserve. And so I just want to stop by and encourage you and let you know that it's absolutely normal. Any of us who have gone through big shifts and transformations in our life, we decide to make those changes, you're going to go through those times where it's a lot of confusion and it can be a lot of self doubt that comes up. And most people turn back right there, because it's just too scary. It's like, man, this is scary, right? They start looking at all the reasons why they can't move forward. They start looking at all the reasons why it's not going to work. But what I want to stop by and tell you today and encourage you to do is start looking at all the reasons why it will work, right? Encourage yourself. Look at all the reasons why you can move forward. You see what I'm saying? And start writing them down for yourself and encouraging yourself to keep moving forward, because I'm telling you, your future self thanks you. Taking your power back is not easy. It really isn't. People are going to judge you. You're going to go through so many rough experiences, and you can feel like, man, Demi, I feel all alone, you know? But that's just how transformation is. It really puts you in a dark space for a while until you come out on the other side more refined and more powerful. You know what I mean? And so if you find yourself in a space today where you dealing with a lot of self-doubt, feeling like, man, did I make the right decision? Am I losing it? What's wrong with me? Everybody else seems to be all right in their situation, and I want better. I want more for myself. And you find yourself dealing with a lot of self-doubt, or you finding yourself dealing with some confusion. I just want to stop by and let you know that's a very normal part of the process in this shift. I think we all go through that, where you're going to hit a space where you're like, man, am I making the right choice? Am I being foolish here? Maybe I am going crazy, maybe I'm doing something wrong, but you're not. You're making a big change in your life, and it's so painful. You know what I mean? It really truly is. It's like lifting weights. The muscle got to be broken down before the new, stronger, more beautiful toned muscle can build. So you're going through that breaking down, and it's so painful. But I want to encourage you to keep moving forward, because you deserve to be happy. You deserve happiness. Don't suffer all your life. You don't deserve that. You went through those things to learn some lessons, to grow, to evolve, and you deserve to have happiness in your life. So Demi is stopping by to encourage whoever's out there that need this encouragement on today to keep moving forward. Okay, it's absolutely normal to go through the self doubt and to feel like, you know, did I make the right choice? Because you're going to have so much of the exterior world trying to tell you that you're wrong, trying to tell you that you're making the wrong choice. What's wrong with you? This person is tripping out. They're crazy. Everything outside of you is going to try to pull you back to that old paradigm. But if you keep pushing forward, right, to the vision that you see for your life and what you want to create in your life, you're going to be so much more happy. I'm telling you, I sit here today in a space, family. I know my purpose is to connect with you guys and talk about these things. But I tell you, going through some of the toughest transformations in my life, that a lot of people at the time couldn't understand, I sit here today in a much better space for myself, more peace, more joy, more happiness, because I chose to listen to myself and what I needed for me, right? But the exterior world will scream at you for a while. And I mean, it will scream. It'll tell you all the reasons why you can't, all the reasons why you shouldn't. And it's going to create a lot of confusion and self doubt if you pay attention to out there, you know? And so I want to encourage you to keep trusting in yourself, trust in your decision to move forward, and to continue to move into the vision that the creator put on the inside of you for your life, family. You deserve to be happy. Trust yourself and keep moving. Don't go back. Okay, you will regret it if you go back. I love y'all so much. I appreciate you for stopping by. I hope this content finds you well, encouraged on today, inspired, empowered, okay? Loving on yourself, taking time out to love on you. You loved on everybody. You put all your love into everybody else. It's time to honor you and move forward with your decision and your choices. Don't let that self doubt creep in and make you turn back to the old you and who you used to be unhappy. You know what I mean? You deserve happiness. I love you so very much. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for your likes, your shares, your subscribes, whatever you do to support the content. And you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, okay? If you're new here, join the family. This content is for chosen vessels, empaths, children of the Most High. If you've dealt with narcissistic people, narcissistic abuse, heavy spiritual warfare, this content is for you. Demi is here to encourage you to keep moving forward, inspire you to take your power back and heal the soul, and enlighten you on ways to do that. So if that sounds like you, join the family. We would love to have you here. I love y'all so very much. Thank you for stopping by, and you have a wonderful rest of your day, okay? Bye-bye.